no matter how much you don't love yourself right now, you can change. And today, I'm gonna share my story how I did. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel, man. Thank you first of all for stopping by. If this is your first time here, let me just tell you, my channel is about spreading good energy, self-development knowledge, self-work, self-love, because in a society where like it just feels like everything is against you, like for you wanting to win, being able to understand that a lot of us are probably going through the same struggles that you are is just very important, to be able to keep your mental health intact. You feel me? So that's what I like to do. I like to share different life lessons that I've learned, that I've been through, that I'm experiencing, that I'm looking forward to, so that way you can know that there's somebody that's right there on that same frequency with you. All right, so that sounds like something you want to be a part of. Hit that subscribe button, and I don't like wasting time, so let's get right into it. So for today's video, I'm gonna take y'all back to the beginning. We're gonna go deep in the archives. You feel me? Like back to where this all started, how I became the person I am today. And I just think that's really important because I've shared this story before, but I did it so long ago. You know what I mean? That I just feel like a great refresher is due right now, right? So first and foremost, I was not always this loving, caring, high value, high frequency, always asking questions, always learning, appreciating feedback. I could keep going. I was not always this person. I was just like a lot of you prior, or a lot of people in the world right now, where you're just a know-it-all. You think you know everything. You think you got all the answers. All your habits are just terrible. And what I mean by that is like your financial habits. You spending way more money than you earn. And then to compile on top of that, it's to impress people that don't care nothing about you. Like you could literally die tomorrow and they could care less. To my thinking habits, like always just having a negative outlook on everything, because I always just looked at like my experiences never working out how I wanted, to being like, man, it's just how the world is, but not recognizing that just accountability aspect of asking myself, like, am I really putting in the work to make things happen? Because it's super easy, especially when you grow up in an environment that's like really gritty, and you got to make sure you always watching your back or looking over your shoulder. Like it's easy to get to a place mentally where you just always feel like everybody's against you. You need to always watch your back. You need to always keep your head on a swivel. And that just translates over to your life. I mean, it's even still times today where just because of that upbringing, like I'm just way more self-aware than some people I be around. Like when I sit in certain restaurants, I want to sit at a certain angle. Like it's just little things that don't change. That you walk down the street, you hear some footsteps behind you, you still give a look back. Like you don't like pretend you don't hear it. You feel me? I'll be like, you good? You know what I mean? So these things are still as a part of just your identity, but I can definitely tell you that with the work that I ended up putting in, I was able to change and become the person I am now. Let's fast forward to the day my life changed. So one day I'm sitting on my couch, right? I'm about to go out this night, get big lit too. And one of my friends called me, really close friend, and they was like, hey, I like to chat with you real quick. I'm just like, what's up? Like, I'm good. I'm free. I'm about to turn up in a little bit, but I'm cool. And she was like, what are you doing with your life? And at this time, remember, I'm a arrogant SOB. So I'm like, who is you talking to? You feel me? And she said, no, 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 I want to be serious. Like, every time I talk with you, you always talk about turning up. You always talk about getting lit. You always talk about chasing women. But like, I never hear you talk about where you taking your life and where you want to go. And like, she's like, and I talk to you enough that I know that you really got your head on your shoulders, but you just make these decisions that keep you down at the bottom, and like as if you don't want to excel. And at that point, I'm thinking to myself, you don't even know me like that. Remember, I'm still arrogant at this point in time. And they was like, I love to give you an analogy because I know you like analogies. I said, okay. They's like, the way you live in your life right now is as if you're in the middle of the ocean and you're just treading water. But if you continually make the decisions that you're making, one day you're gonna drown. And I remember hearing it because this is like one of the first people ever to just like give me their honest opinion about how I was living my life. Like I never received no feedback like that, like straightforward to the point from somebody I knew that actually cared about my well-being. And I remember going out that night, by the way, I still went and turned up. But I couldn't turn up the same way because it was just in my mind. And then literally I pondered on this for 2 days and was like, yo, she's right. I gotta make a change. So I called her and was literally like, yo, I'm gonna give you some good updates soon. So how did I get to a place where I'm this high frequency individual who loves themselves and all those other things? I would like to say I started here. First and foremost, I'm a man. So as men, for the most part, we're taught that like you can't show emotion. You can't be soft. You can't express yourself. Your job is to always hold up, always be firm, always hold it down, you know? And so, like, with that already deep in your subconscious, I think it's really hard for a lot of men in general to start working on themselves. Okay. So I just want to like throw that out there. That is a seed that's in our subconscious. I think before you actually work on yourself, that you got to be able to get over. But now I'm going to increase the spectrum to everybody. The first step to my mentality changing was right after I had this conversation with my friend. Like a couple of days later, I ended up seeing this quote by a guy named Socrates, or a philosopher named Socrates. And it was knowledge is power. And I was like, exactly. And it was like, but within that truth, there's a trap. And the trap is that true wisdom is knowing that you know nothing at all. And that if you think you're a master of knowledge and that you are know-it-all, that one day eventually you'll start to crucify, you'll get brittle and you'll break. But if you stay a student of knowledge, you'll be able to always continually grow and you'll surpass the master. And it was some about that quote and my know-it-all mentality that just like shut my brain completely off. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, oh my God. Like, why did I always try to be this master of knowledge, this know-it-all, this person who just wanted to be head and heels, the smartest person in every room? So then I completely just eliminated everything that I thought that I knew, right? And of course, I can't blank my mind out and can't now use like do math or nothing, but you know, just feeling like I knew a lot about the world. I can't. So I was like, yo, pretend you know nothing. Let's start from scratch. Yeah, and the first thing I did was read this book, and the book was called The Mastery of Self. I personally recommend that book to everybody. That book, I even did a book review on it because that's just how amazing it was for me. It's on my channel too. I'll definitely link that above. And what it teaches you is the difference between conditional and unconditional love. And I would honestly just start there for everybody. Like, I'm not even going to deep dive through all the different things. You truly got to figure out what is the difference between conditional and unconditional love, conditional and unconditional goals. You know, and it's I could keep going down the line. Conditional, unconditional relationships. Like, and conditional in hindsight means that you love yourself or you like this thing as long as it is meeting certain conditions. And unconditional would be you love this thing regardless of the conditions that's in place. Okay. So a lot of people, whether you realize it or not, have conditional love for a lot of different things and they don't have unconditional love for them. Now, I would say it's not as easy to unconditionally love, in my opinion, other people or like certain things or certain habits, just because they do bring some type of benefit to you, but yourself, you definitely gotta learn to unconditionally love, and any goals tied into that, you need to be able to love. And I'll use an example like the gym. If right now you go in the mirror and you don't like what you see, right? And you decide I want to go to the gym. So you discipline yourself, you get on a diet, you work super hard, you get the body of your dreams. You're like, oh my God, I love myself. No, you love yourself conditionally. You love yourself based on now you did amazing. You put in the work, you put in the discipline, you changed your life, and that's phenomenal. But you only love yourself based off what you look like. What if you got injured? Or what if you just stop, you know, being as strict with your diet and you start to gain weight? Then what happens? Now you look in the mirror like, oh, that person, I don't love them. So unconditional love would be so you look in the mirror and you're like, yo, I don't like what I see. So you're being honest with yourself. But I'm so thankful that I'm alive. And I just want to get myself to a better place where I'm healthy and I feel like I look better for me. And now this person starts working out. Now you're loving, you still gotta be disciplined, you still gotta be strict, but you're loving, you love yourself. So you watching yourself grow, you watch yourself change. And then at the end of it, even if you ever got off your diet, you still love what you look like. And so that's just like a simple one, and it breaks down to so many different spectrums. That's the first thing I would tell everybody you need to learn: conditional versus unconditional love. So fast forward to today. What is my mentality like now? I am in the best mental space I've ever been in my entire life. Like, I know who I am. I know where I want to go. You definitely can't get me with no peer pressure or any little things like that, or outside influences don't affect me and stuff like that. I understand how the mind works and how just powerful it is, and whatever it focuses on is exactly where your energy takes you. But I'm always still working because we're always still learning and we're always still growing. And you don't really stop learning. Remember, I told y'all that, and this is 7, 8 years ago. So I'm giving you a story in one day, but this was like 7, 8 years of remembering. You have to keep growing. Like, I'm literally learning stuff all the time, and I be sharing it with people in like my circle now, like my high frequency circle, where we get to bounce these ideas off each other and continue to grow. If you were to ask me, what is the downside to loving yourself. I personally would always say there's none. You should always choose yourself above all, but that is what I was about to say. It is that you will always choose yourself first. No one will ever have the capability to fill your cup but you. And the reason I say this is because if you're just starting out and you're like a people pleaser, you are probably going to struggle a bit with like people saying, "Oh, you're selfish now. Oh, you only care about yourself. Oh, this," but you have to be that way. Because if you don't love you, like how do you expect anybody else to? You know what I mean? It's like kind of one of those things. If you don't trust yourself, how do you expect anybody else to trust you? And that's really just the simple logic behind it when it comes to just loving yourself. So all in all, I would just tell you, it's been an amazing journey for myself. I am so happy with everything I've learned and how I've grown into the person I am today. I mean, for God's sakes, I'm living in LA right now by myself, got everything taken care of on my own. And this is all part of just my disciplines and my focus and my financial decisions around delayed gratification. I mean, I literally just this year, I'll give y'all some insight. Just this year alone. January, I spent a lot of money just investing in myself though, and in my different aspirations. And then for February, I ended up saving a lot of money because I was like, yo, you overspent for January. But then in March, I literally invested a lot again. And so I sat back myself though and was like, listen, you got to remember life is a long game. Winning, even being an actor, is a long game. You can't just make it happen overnight. So now I want to scale back on my spending just going forward, at least for the next like 3 to 4 months, and just put in the work. Like, I've gotten all the tools I need. I got everything that I want to make my life happen at this moment. And I need to just live in this moment and don't like go too far out. You see what I mean? This is something I literally just learned like last week about myself, just recognizing how I was moving and how my patterns were compiling on top of each other. I was trying to expedite a process instead of enjoying the process. And so for everybody out there, if you wondering if you could change, you can. I am the prime example who was, and by changing, you also start to break those generational curses. And I actually got a video on how it is for me to be the first person in my family to break my generational curse that you should check out.